Yo, what it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nixie coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. So I wanted to go over a very dope artist that I liked from a very long time. It's going to be Post Malone. So let's not waste no time. If you guys like this video, don't forget to like, comment, then subscribe. And if you do want the preset, the template, the link to it will be down below. So here we go. How to get those radio ready Post Malone vocals.
Keep my Glocky tucked like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little critter trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh. And you tucking this shit, but you ain't gonna do shit. Ooh. I ain't even gotta get up. Ain't nobody scared of you. Keep my Glocky tucked like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little critter trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh. And you tucking this shit, but you ain't gonna do shit. Ooh. Ain't even gotta get up. Ain't nobody scared of you.
Okay, so Post Malone, he's a very dope artist. I remember vividly listening to White Iverson, and I think Post Malone is really raw because now he's kind of crossed over a little bit into, you know, pop, and he kind of really doing his own thing. I mean, the guy has got, I think, well, I checked his YouTube, and he's got like 22 million like subscribers. I was like, whoa, Post Malone has really branched out. So that's why I wanted to switch it up a little bit today and push myself to do Post Malone, okay? Give a little bit of variety. So with Post Malone, he still kind of is like, you know, in that rap type of a vibe because he's still using that auto-tune, that sound we are familiar with. So let's bypass the Post Malone preset in and out really quickly. But let's look at the auto-tune with Post Malone. So with Post Malone, I use the tracking button, which makes the auto-tune more choosier. I pushed it to 30. Usually, if I do want to still have the aggressive settings, but natural auto-tune, I will use more tracking.
Keep my Glocky tucked like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little critter trying to teach me how to dance.
Okay, very dope. So a quick retune speed, you can kind of hear the auto-tune, but with Post Malone, his vocals are very natural. So I use the tad bit more of humanize that I would use on a regular rap vocal and more tracking, which makes the auto-tune a little bit lazier. It lets the auto-tune be like, okay, it's that one, buddy. I'm gonna let you slide that one time. It makes the auto-tune like a friendly security guard at a club or a bank, letting everybody in, letting all the robbers in and stuff like that. So that's what it will do to the auto-tune. Make it a little less stingy, more lenient. All right, with and without the preset real quick though.
Keep my Glocky tucked like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little critter trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh, and you tucking this shit, but keep my Glocky tucked like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little critter trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh.
Very familiar Post Malone sound, really big ambient reverb and a very powerful vocal. His vocal reminds me of something like a guitar. It has a lot of mid-range presence. So my whole vocal preset is about how can I enhance that mid-range presence of somebody like Post Malone. I feel like this preset can also apply to just in general trying to get those top 40 pop, you know, rap vocals. You know what I mean specifically. Like there's certain rappers that you just keep consistently hearing on the radio because they have that top 40 type of, you know, pop rap type of sound. So that's what I was going for right here. Kind of like what is his name, Kid Laroi or Iann Dior. This is the type of preset that this is for, you know, switching it up today. So yeah, I used the Abbey Road RS124, and this is really good because this right here is a Reverb compressor, right? So this is actually just the nature of using this compressor is a tube compressor, and it's helped bringing in some more mid-range aggression to a Post Malone type of vocal. So let's listen to it. But at the same time, something like a Reverb compressor also has a slow, generally slow release time. So because Post Malone, he's really more singing and everything like that, it's good to use a compressor like this because the slower release time will let, you know, get away with more. And the tubes also have a slower attack too, so they're not as too grabby, you know?
Got baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. Keep my Glocky tucked like a baby in a Ranger. ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance. Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a
So the very first thing I'm doing is you paying attention that the volume is getting louder. I purposely like to use analog modeled plugins, the output, to get some dirty gain, to get some ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise, honey habanero, blue buffalo seasoning. This is different from your regular fader on your DAW, because the regular fader on your DAW is gonna make it louder, but without adding any tonal characters. So I use this on purpose, making it a little bit louder. Not even the output, just the input. They both have different types of sound, you know, input tube and an output tube. And I use the sidechain on this, you know, because very new compressors are generally slow. I use the internal sidechain so it could be a little bit more responsive to the mid-range of Post Malone's vocal. He has a lot of mid-range. So after that, we use the Sheps Omni-Channel. I'm absolutely in love with this plugin. You know, the Sheps Omni-Channel, it's like a Swiss Army knife type of situation of channel strips. You know, you can do anything, a preamp, compression, EQ, gate, comparing to some older, you know, analog model channel strips. They kind of tie your hands behind your back. They kind of, you know, kidnap you. They kind of put you in that ransom position. You know, they limit your options essentially. So I like this one a lot because I get the choice of the preamp section. And a lot of times, you know, a SSL E channel strip, it's not just the EQ. It's not just the compression. It's the collection of the whole family, the grandma, the auntie, the cousins, the brother, the sister. The whole family is what contributes to that signature sound. So pushing a little bit of odd order harmonics that adds some aggression, kind of like a Sony C800 has odd order harmonics, like a pencil tube pretty much. So I call it pent up odd anger. That's how you can remember it. Odd order harmonics, you know, they add a little bit anger, like a little pent up school shooter, Columbine type of anger. And then after that, I hope the algorithm don't ding me for that or somebody. You feel me? So the compressor, using the FET compressor, this is usually better for singers using the 1176 early on because his notes are longer. It's not like rap where it's so much transients. So I did use like the FET compressor and I pulled back the mix knob a little bit more. So I'm getting some aggressive parallel compression.
a baby in a ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh. And you taking that shit, but you ain't gonna do shit. Ooh. I ain't even gonna get up. Ain't nobody scared of you.
Yeah, so just using that to add a little bit of, you know, Rottweiler, a Jack Russell Terrier bark to the sound, you know, aggressive saturation and aggressive compression pulled back on parallel. So after that, at that point, okay, we did do a high shelf, and I like to use the high shelf before the de-esser because I'm making the higher end frequencies higher than the lows. So it's like the de-esser is catching more of the higher end. Rather, if you had like a whole balanced signal, sometimes if I feel like my de-esser is being a little too grabby, I will take a high shelf somewhere at 5K, usually where most of the sibilance is up, and effectively, you know, put a ladder. I'm giving the sibilance a ladder to climb on to so the de-esser can smack it upside the head as soon as it gets to the top. So I'm doing the high shelf, right? You see that the high shelf is pushing up the higher end frequencies and it's going into the next plugin, which is the de-esser. You know, so the de-esser doing a couple dBs, we know what a de-esser does, all right? After that, we have C4, and this is the perfect time to use pop vocal preset, of course, because Post Malone, he's kind of like a pop star now. He's like a huge, you know, he developed from just being a rapper doing White Iverson to, you know, being like a huge star. And that's the thing about being an artist. You got to keep continually growing. You know, sometimes a lot of rappers nowadays, they get scared. They don't want to switch up their sound. They don't want to get critiqued. And that also applies to people who just started making music. They don't even got no fans, but they're already so scared to try something different because they're scared to be judged. So that's very important, not only being a rapper, but being as a person, man. Don't worry about what the fuck other people have to say about you, you know? Just make art that reflects who you are as a person, put it out, and if they fuck with it, that's great. But if they don't, just know that at least you're being honest to yourself, you know? That's the thing about Post Malone. I'm sure there's some people who say, Post, why you switching up your sound, man? That sounds trash, man. Everybody's gonna say that to every rapper, you know? But the pop vocal preset is really good. It opens up that mid-range. It opens up the doors. Hello, good morning to the mid-range of the vocal. It kind of just lets everything get released like a heavenly angel and start flying about.
Keep my Glocky tied like a baby in a ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper. Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to.
So we put in the mid-range of Post Malone's vocal, which she's got a lot of mid-ranges in his vocal. We grabbing it, we putting it in a little chokehold, okay? Like the Undertaker, we putting in that chokehold and we keeping it in place using the C4 multiband. Okay, after that, we have the Kramer Pi compressor, which is a dope compressor that Jimi Hendrix's engineer used to use a lot. It's a solid state bus compressor. He used to throw it on that master fader, but now we're using it on the vocal and it's great because it gives mid-range aggression, and that's what I'm going with Post Malone. When I hear him, like he talk like a ranger. You feel me? As soon as I hear that, I know as an engineer in my head, mid-range aggression, that's what I want to enhance, and I click the Kramer Pi. So mostly using the quickest release time. Usually those slower analog compressors, they got kind of like Down syndrome. They're really slow to respond and everything like that. A lot of those analog model compressors. So I usually use the fastest release on them because, nowadays modern melodies, the way the tempos are, a lot of people are singing a little bit faster, not extending the notes as much. Post Malone is kind of a rapper still, so that's why I did that.
Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance. Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to.
Yeah, so the compressor is not even really working at all. I'm using it more for tone, specifically the output, like I said, dirty gain from before. So yeah, it's not really compressing. I think there was like a certain note over here it might be compressing, but for the most part, it's doing like a dB max. Okay, after that, I have the RVOX, only using it for a gate to tighten up Post Malone's performance. And yeah, we already know what a gate does. It kind of reduces the background noise, but I like to use a really high gate. It depends. I had somebody ask me, Nick, why you be using gates like so much? I use the gates more for tone, because when you put, like, if somebody has a tie on their neck and that tie is a little bit too tight, they start talking a little bit different. So I use the gates in a situation like that to add a little bit more sense of urgency to a Post Malone vocal. So we know what that's doing. After that, fresh air, okay? You feel me? A little bit of fresh air in the vocal, and mostly going for that mid-range presence, that mid-range boost, that mid-range clarity for Post Malone. It really starts to sharpen up the pencil a little bit, sharpen up the machete of his vocal.
Got baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me. Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance.
All right. So yeah, we kind of get what that's doing, adding some mid-range bite. After that, we have the REQ. Most importantly, not doing any more of a high shelf boost. There's something very moderate to maybe push a little bit more articulation, kind of taking the camera and zooming in just a little bit more on the iPhone and auto-focusing on the details of Post Malone's vocal, just doing a very slight boost right here. Just a little mid-range cut, because we doing so much compression to enhance that mid-range. Now we don't want it to overwhelm the listener, so these are the type of counter moves you got to do as an engineer.
Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh.
So yeah, that's kind of rebalances the vocal. Okay, another de-esser, and that's only doing like maybe 1 to 3 dB. That's kind of a counter move for the fresh air. Usually the fresh air starts to add that mosquito frequency, and that's something you should be very precautious of when you're engineering, doing all these high shelf boosts and stuff like that. Like anytime you go on the red knob on the SSL, that's a high shelf boost. That means that's boosting effectively everything from 5K and infinity, right? All the way up there. But when you understand the human ear, like when we come all the way up to 18K, 19K, a lot of people can't even hear that. So that's just noise, high level noise that's taking up space and distracting your ear from listening to the actual high end. And that's why I did this little cut right here to focus the high end. All right, so we have H delay, nothing crazy. Then we have a Mani reverb. And this is really dope using that chamber preset. I love using a chamber reverb when I want to add clarity to a vocal, because the actual physical space of a chamber, you got to think about the acoustics of a chamber, right? They used to use real chambers, and a chamber it's very reflective, so that means the sound is bouncing off everywhere, right? But it doesn't have that much diffusion, right? And usually when you have a room that has more diffusion, like a thick wool room, that would produce a reverb that is a little bit warmer, a little bit more smoother. But something like a chamber, like a stone chamber, is reflective, but it doesn't have too much diffusion. So it kind of gives a bright, really dope, bright sound.
When your girl around me, she treats you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance.
So that's when you hear guys like Tory Lanez, Post Malone, on the radio, and their reverb sounds so huge because a lot of that information that's being reverberated is more in the high end. So understanding that a hall reverb is a little bit warmer, a little bit smoother in the top end, and I'm talking about the actual way the reverb works, the way it reacts to the voice without actually like EQing it before. This is what I'm talking about right now. And chambers, they have a way of putting in clarity. If you go in like Valhalla reverb, you go to chamber and there's like a preset called clear chamber, and that's a great reverb preset too to get like a Post Malone sound. Most importantly, use center, and I brought down the whole mid channel. Didn't do no side chaining. I heard with Post Malone, his reverb was still big, the vocal was still focused, but the reverb wasn't moving around too much. So I suspected a center, and I pulled down the whole mid channel, and it's only the sides.
Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treats you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how.
Very dope plugin that can create space for that lead vocal, keeping it dry, yet the backgrounds, the background reverb, that big bucket of ALCS, Ice Challenge still being huge and massive, let the water part still be turned on in the background, but the lead vocal is still in focus. Okay, doubler stomp. Love using the doubler stomp on Autotune vocals. It has this modulation situation to it. It's really dope. It helps the, vocals not only get more dimension, but blend well.
Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treats you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van.
Pretty much turning the vocal in the background. The doubler is like Michael Phelps swimming in that water, right? And it's a situation where it's making the vocal just sound smoother. It's like a modulator over another modulator. Use the Kramer Pi here, and I think I actually did do compression here at this point to give me some mid-range growl.
Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treats you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance. A baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treats you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little. Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treats you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance.
Okay, very dope. So that's the lead vocal preset. And let's go over to our ad-libs. So with Post Malone, I know his engineer likes to use a UAD chorus brigade pedal, which is a very dope analog chorus. It's a very cheap plugin, actually. If you buy it, I think it's like, what, $30? 30, maybe 40. It's a very cheap plugin, very dope. I love using it on my ad-libs. So, usually he's got a situation, Post Malone, where since his lead vocal already has the maximum amount of water inside of the pool, usually the ad-libs are usually dry, and sometimes they don't have no reverb, so that's what I, did. I found upon my research of Post Malone's engineer. So, rolling off a little bit of top and bottom, the fact that I'm rolling off a lot of low end is what's putting the ad-libs all the way in the back. Then we have a flanger stomp, so that's giving us some of that modulation. And the rate is relatively, medium. Sometimes if the rate is too slow and the ad-lib is too quick, you might not even hear the flanging. So, that's something to always pay attention, the rate of the flanging and stuff like that.
Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treats you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh. And you taking that shit, but you ain't gonna do shit. Ooh. Ain't even gotta get up. Ain't nobody scared of you.
Yeah, so pretty much that's what we have right there. I put the RVOX for a little bit of compression, here, and that's bringing some low mid presence to the vocal, especially because I cut so much low end. Now I'm bringing back in the low end, but using compression rather than like a boosting EQ. So that's a great way to get tone in a different way, right? And then I use the reverb, and I use the reverb like this instead of putting it on the parallel split because I want it to react to the mono mod, right? Which is like a panning type of plugin. So my reverb is moving all over the place and stuff like that, keeping things very interesting and entertaining. And then it's going into another flanging delay. So it's giving a lot of dimension, but there really isn't too much reverb on the ad-libs. Like I said, considering how much cup is in the water, considering how much gasoline is in the tank, a guy like Post Malone, if you got so much reverb already on your lead vocal, especially it's not even sidechain, chances are you are probably limited to how much more water you could put into the cup. If the bottle's already full, I can't put another gallon in it because I have no more space. So as an engineer, you always got to think about when it comes to applying effects, how much more water can you put into the gallon? How much more water you can put into the cup, you know?
Keep my Glocky tug like a baby in a Ranger. When your girl around me, she treat you like a stranger. I got 20, 30 strippers in a stripper van. It's a little crowd trying to teach me how to dance. Ooh. And you taking this shit, but...
And those ad-libs are more felt than heard. So this was a situation where I didn't push up the high. I see some people like they instantly just push this up. You know what I mean? And that's not really a move that you have to do all the time with ad-libs unless you really want the ad-libs to be heard. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video that we got here today. If you guys do like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to also check out the pin link down below if you want to get the template. We broke down everything about Post Malone's really dope vocal sound today. So I just want to say thank you so much for being a great part of my YouTube family. Appreciate you guys. Now suggest more artists down below. Okay, peace.